live before.
Okay, we're live, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay. It's all working. I'm waiting for 7 just in case somebody else comes in.
I think I fined twice. For saying, okay, mayor.
All right, now I'm gonna go.
5,
I'm gonna
4,
go now.
3,
Okay.
1.
All right, gonna call this town board meeting to order. The fire exits are outside that door and at each end of the hall. And there is a defibrillator across the hall on the wall in case it is needed. We'll begin by the pledge of allegiance to the flag and a moment of silence for all the deceased residents of Hamlin. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We continue with our invocation from Nick Russo of Walker Bible Baptist Church.
All right, let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for tonight. Thank you for, God, just a beautiful area we get to live in. And God, thank you for this time of year. And God, thank you for your blessings in our life. Thank you for these men and women that dedicate their life, their thoughts, their efforts to making our town better. Lord, I pray you give them wisdom. Lord, I pray you bless us here tonight, that you be pleased with all that we say and do. And I pray this all in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Next, we need a roll call.
Probert.
Here.
Mail. Here. Wilco. Here. Yeager.
Here.
Buzz.
Here. We will proceed with a public forum. Please keep your comments to the board as a whole, not as any personal matters. Try to keep it down to 5 minutes. The board may answer you, it may not, whatever. If we elect a little conversation, we will. We will start, I have 2 of these up here and then I'll ask for anybody else. We will start with Nicholas Russo, 2026 County Line Road.
All right, appreciate your time. So I saw online that the supervisors for the town of Clarkson mentioned that they would be bringing water into different districts, and they had their whole little town thing. I was out of town, I couldn't attend their meeting, but they mentioned about coming up my road, County Line Road. And when I asked about it, I didn't get a lot of information from her, maybe because I just wasn't in her district and it just, I don't matter as much or whatever, but this is my town, so I thought, I don't know if there's a conversation with how that goes or how, I know I live past Clarkson, I live in the Hamlin area, but I do live in County Line Road. To me, it seems strange to bring water up halfway up the road and it ends right at the creek and we're in this no man's land. I didn't know if there was a conversation that was happening between the town board or the town or whoever it is that discusses these things with Clarkson to come up with a plan to get the water all the way up to Sandy Creek.
We are discussing that, or I am at least. I just found out like a week and a half or so ago myself that it was coming down County Line Road. They just shared it with us.
Yeah.
So immediately we called our engineers at MRB and they are going to be, there's nothing we can do right now because it's all in their preliminary stage and everything, but they are going to, MRB is also Clarkson's engineering firm.
Oh, great.
So they know that we might want to bring it down to the creek and everything. Like I said, right now it's in the early stages, but we have put a bug in our ear and seeing what we can do, and also maybe talking with the town of Kendall also, because then we'll have to talk with LaBella, because if it comes down our way, give a chance for the people on Kendall's side to also tap into it.
Sure.
So yes, we just found out about that here ourselves just a little while ago also, but we are pursuing it to see what we can do. I also talked to MRB last week because the town of Sweden and the town of Clarkson both did a survey like a couple years ago as far as seeing the poverty level or whatever of their town, I guess the income level, I should say, of the people in town. And this independent survey found out that they couldn't get grants. The state is doing away with independent surveys from what we hear.
Yeah.
They're just gonna go by the census, the 2010 census. Or 20, was it 10 or 20?
20.
20 census.
Phil Hurlbut knows about it because he lives over there too, so he also knows about what's going on. Right now, Hamlin is above the threshold
Okay.
of the 2010 census. So we couldn't even get any grants right now. We're gonna wait till October to see where we stand, to see if things equalize, whatever, because our rate, actually our 2020 rate went up, but we don't know what the state considers poverty level.
The states may change their
They may change
threshold.
their level, their threshold level.
Gotcha.
So until October, we don't know if we're gonna fall in there and be able to get any grants or not, so.
Okay. All right.
We are pursuing it, and that with a couple other areas too, I think Redmond Road and
Yeah.
Cook Road, they're not going all the way down, but
Yeah.
we are pursuing.
Wonderful. I really appreciate that. When I looked into it years ago, they pretty much said, not in your lifetime will I ever see it. And then I heard that it was coming up my road, like I can see it, like down the road. Man, so close. And our well just goes dry this time of year. It's every 2 or 3 days I'm driving to the highway department, the Kendall Highway Department, filling up a 150-gallon tank and bringing water to my house. So I thought, man, if we could get good water, that was really exciting. So anyways, okay, thank you
It's
very
in the
much.
works, we are gonna try to.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, sir, thank you. Now, Jamie, I'll let you say your name, I'll cruise by it.
Okay, Joe, help him out.
Nidwitsky.
What's that?
Nidwitsky.
Nidswicki.
Nidwicki.
Nidwicki, at 1713 Apple Hollow Lane.
Yes, Nidzwicki, Polish husband.
Thank you for helping me.
A couple things. So first, I was just wondering if there was something we could do about the library lights at nighttime. There's some on the front, and then there's like 4 on the side that are like wicked fluorescent bright, and they point directly at our backyard. They're just like so beyond blinding bright. I didn't know if that was like absolutely necessary to have the whole building surrounded with lights all night, or if they could be turned off on that side, or like yellow like the other buildings, so it's not so harsh. And I don't know if that you guys did that, or if I should go directly to the library for that.
We can talk to them. There's probably not yellow on the other building anymore. We just changed them a few weeks ago to the white
Right.
brighter
Oh,
light. We just
okay.
put LEDs on the other building also, but saying that the library lights are adjustable.
Oh, okay.
We're not going to replace them, but we can look to see if they need to be adjusted and pointed down a
Pointed
little bit.
down,
Maybe they're out too far. We can look at that.
Okay, that sounds good. And I also was wondering, as far as like the future plans for the walkway, I know I heard rumors of like benches being placed, and I was just wondering like where those were going, if anybody had any plans, like where are we going with the walkway?
We are not exactly sure yet where the benches are gonna go. We are putting the benches, just like Penny, Joe, our town clerk, has been really instrumental in that. The benches were made out of recycled plastic. We were putting them along the trail mostly for like senior citizens.
Right.
So in case they can't walk, because this trail is like for the seniors and everything, to help them get out, they can drive here, or people with little kids
Yeah.
that don't want to have their kids out on Route 18 bicycling, they can bring them here to a little parking lot, put your little kid on that trail, and he can bicycle on a safe trail. We don't know exactly where we're putting them yet. We plan on maybe planting a tree next to each one that we put out there, so that if you get tired on the trail, you can sit down. There won't be a whole lot of them, I don't believe, on a trail. 3 at this point?
Yeah, I'm thinking probably by the basketball courts, tennis courts will be like a good area starting there.
Well, like I said, we'll look
We
at the
didn't- haven't
trail.
really-
Maybe if there's only 3 of them, maybe we'll split it in like thirds to see.
Rest points.
Is there a place where you,
It's like,
you
Not
don't
in my
want to?
backyard would be nice.
I mean,
If
that's
we
a-
could. Do I have to sign a petition to have it not directly behind my house? That would be wonderful. I'm just worried about, it's already like kind of a lot, so I was just hoping that I wouldn't have to like worry about people like sitting directly behind my house all day, you know what I mean? But, so that's why I'm just curious if you guys like had a game plan or if you have no idea because they're not here yet or just.
there's only one of them here right now, and then we also have to probably pour a cement pad because they have to be anchored down, otherwise they're gonna walk and
Yeah.
everything.
And they would face the park,
Yeah,
not somebody's backyard,
yeah,
so.
But we can, I just wrote it down, your address, and
Yeah.
we can look at that, and like I say, we're gonna probably just scatter them here and there, they're not gonna be all over the place.
yeah.
But just like you said, rest points, and like I said, we might plant a tree behind them or something. For in the future, I know right now it wouldn't shade them very much, but hopefully in 10 years, so the tree grows and it produces shade for them.
Is that the only kind of like, were you guys planning on doing some kind of like fencing along the trail or shrubs or anything, or it's just like a walkway?
So far, it's just a
Just a
walkway.
walkway.
Okay.
An exercise, just for people to get exercise.
I just know the residents were wondering like if there's any kind of buffer between properties and the path, or if that's up to us to do fencing and, put some kind of barrier betwing people and our house.
We can look at it more in the future. Right now, we don't have plans for that, I'll
It
say.
could be a good Boy Scout Eagle project
Yeah,
as well.
Well, like I say, we can look at that in the future also. We are watching the trail right now, 'cause it is brand new,
yeah,
so we're watching it. And if we have to adjust something, maybe we will in the future.
okay. If you guys announce stuff for the trail, is that usually at the recreation meetings or you do that at the town board meetings? Like if we want to.
It will probably be, we are getting a new website up, so it might be on the recreation website if we do anything else with the trails. We can always say when we're gonna put the benches out. Right now, the benches
Yeah.
are not going out. They might in a month or so, but not right now. We don't have plans for it.
Okay,
So, yeah, it will be up on the recreation website.
okay. Yeah, heads up would be nice. Heads up would have been nice for the trail, like, hey, don't let your dog out in your underwear, because we're putting a fence or putting a walkway up, but that's okay. Okay.
And we'll probably have information on the newsletter as well, like
Okay.
it's been in there before too, so.
I know I have a couple neighbors that, I don't know if you guys knew, but there's been like 5 houses just on our track that have gone up for sale in the past year, so our neighbors are from Rochester. This is like a whole new world for them, so they were like, what is going on? They had no idea about town meetings or newsletters, so, but we're trying to get people more.
And that's why we're
And
doing a
then
new website too, trying to help,
Yeah.
because ours is kind of cumbersome and not very good right now, so we are gonna get a new website with more information, more user friendly, so that people in town can see more stuff and it's more friendly to them.
Okay. Sounds good. So should I come back to the next meeting as far as like the library lights, or how do I find out about that?
You can contact, like I said, it'll take me out to come when it's dark out or something and check them out.
Okay. I got pictures too, I can always email you, so.
Okay, yeah, email me.
Okay,
And my email's on the website, it's supervisor@hamlinny.org.
okay.
And you can always, if you don't wanna come back, you can always just email me and see where we are with it,
Okay,
all right?
yep, sounds good. Thank you guys.
You're welcome, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else who'd like to speak? No? Now's your chance, anybody. Okay, all right. Seeing there is no other comments, we're going to close the public forum. We are requesting town board resolution to approve the regular town board meeting minutes of July 27th, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Robot,
Yes.
Mail.
Yes.
Boko.
Yes.
Yeager.
Yes.
Baz.
Yes. Requesting town board resolution to approve the payment of bills from their respective funds.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Robot,
Yes.
Mail.
Yes.
Boko.
Yes.
Yeager.
Yes.
Baz.
Yes. requesting town board resolution to approve the special meeting minutes of August 3rd, 2022.
So moved.
Second. Robot?
Yes.
Mail?
Yes.
Folko?
Yes.
Jaeger?
Yes.
Baz?
Yes. You may notice the public hearing is not on there in the minutes. They were
Yeah.
so lengthy, we
Yeah.
had didn't have enough time to get that lengthy of a thing done, so we will vote on it at the next meeting. The minutes will be there, we'll vote at the next meeting. The important thing was the special minutes meeting. The supervisor's monthly report is acknowledged and filed. Okay, requesting town board resolution to set the number of parcels being responsible to finance a bond note for the Hamlin Lakeshore Sewer District number 1 at 313. And discussion, please.
Did you guys get, I sent you a kind of a late email at like 5 o'clock today, did everyone have a chance to read through it? I'll summarize them. Okay, basically, I was asking for you all to consider a couple things prior to the vote tonight. I mean, we've talked about this before, we obviously voted on it once, but since then we've had a public hearing where we've had several residents express concerns over the vacant units being charged a full EDU versus a half EDU. I think I've been pretty transparent on where I stand on the issue. I just think that the half EDU for vacant units is what was originally presented at the public hearing for the sewer district. And I think we should honor that. I've already expressed that in the past as well. I calculated if that half an EDU is dispersed amongst all the full EDUs, it would come to around $26 per year per resident, or $788 over the course of a 30-year bond. I think when you take that into consideration, for instance, there's one person, and I know this is an extreme case, but one person with 5 vacant lots, some of which are underwater, completely non-buildable, never gonna need sewers, he'd be paying $18,000 over the course of 30 years. So I think if you kind of weigh, and I know that's extreme. Sorry, Joel, I feel like my back is too.
No, it's okay.
I think it, we presented at this recent public hearing, the fact that we could possibly be rezoning shoreline residential to allow for smaller homes. I think that if you look at a lot of the parcels that are vacant, they wouldn't even be buildable lots to begin with, and I feel like that's legislating zoning to justify taxation, which I'm not a fan of. So I think, in keeping with like our master plan and open space index, I think maybe we should consider that a lot of the vacant lots aren't buildable. And as far as consistency, like we have several water districts that we did do a half an EDU for vacant parcels. Drake Road, Newco, if anything, I would argue that water would be a full EDU because I think a lot of people could hook up a hose or a spigot to water, but sewer is different. You wouldn't need to, on a vacant property, maybe someone would wanna hook up to water to put a hose on their little strip of vacant land, but a sewer, I think, is a different ballgame where, you know, you would be doing things that would generate wastewater, so unless you have livable space, I don't think you'd be doing that. And we did just approve Lakeshore Sewer District number 2, which in conjunction with Kendall, which it was stated at that public hearing, all the vacant lots would be charged half an EDU, so this would indeed be consistent across the board. Just my thoughts.
As far as just about Kendall, we had no say. Hamlin has no say in what Kendall charges. That's their sewer district, we had no say in what the price is or any other thing on that. Also, their price is $210, their bond price. So half an EDU and Kendo is $205. A full EDU in Hamlin would be $133. There can be some mergers, $135 for a full EDU. I mean, it's tough to compare Kendo, even match Kendo with us when there's, even at half an EDU, they're paying $80, $90 more. And that's also dependent on, if in that meeting, they said they're hoping for a $2 million grant. They don't have it yet. So all those figures they gave the public was if they get a $2 million grant, which they don't have yet. So if they don't get that $2 million grant and they still want to go through the sewer, everybody's prices are going through the roof, even more than what they already are. Like I say, but we have nothing to do with Kendo. We have no say in what they charge because it's their sewer district.
But that price is fluid, so a full EDU could change, right? Like,
Yeah.
it can go down.
Well, my question is there, if there is a lot that's unbuildable, a vacant lot or whatever that's unbuildable, and that property owner, what's the vehicle to make that not a full DDU? Would they go to the assessor or the Board of Assessment Review and argue that case? Who's gonna make the determination, I guess? Because there was a statement that there are gonna be some, and there will be some lots that weren't buildable that may now be buildable because they don't have to have a leach field with it.
Right.
So it's gonna kind of go both ways.
Yes.
But that's been brought up. You know, who's gonna make that determination? Would that be up to the Board of Assessment Review? Or,
I would think when they come in for a building permit, that our building inspector would notify the assessor to change the EDU from.
no, that part I understand if it's gonna be building, but if it goes the other way, you know?
I understand exactly what you're saying, yes. You're asking, in extreme cases, can we change? The assessor, I don't think once his town board sets it, and maybe she can, I'm not saying, but once your town board sets it, maybe our attorney would know that, what each EDU gets charged, I don't know if the assessor can even change it. She can change the assessment on that property. She has that full right, if it's a property covered in water, maybe it's assessed for too much, and it is within her right to change.
To drop it, okay.
To drop the assessment on that property. As far as the price for an EDU, I don't believe she can.
I don't think she can. Yeah, I'd have to look into it, but I don't believe she can. I think once it's been established, it's been established.
But there is a vehicle to argue that through the Board of Assessment Review.
You can argue
per
what-
se, you know.
But that's just
That's on the total assessment. Correct,
Just
yeah.
arguing the assessment of the
Yeah,
property.
I gotcha.
I mean, like I say, if you thought your property may change, that you could have a building lot, you'd have to come before the assessor and our code enforcement officer, because she knows where our floodplains and everything are down there. They would know if you can or cannot build on that lot.
Okay.
Because I was surprised that actually, the few of them, I didn't think you could, and she said that our code enforcement said, they're not in a floodplain. And if you have a certain size building with the sewers where you don't need, you can build a building on there. But saying that, come in and check, and people have a little time, come in and check with the code enforcement and the assessor to see exactly what they can and can't do. They will know a lot more than what I would, right? We also, like the person, if he's got three parcels that are flooded and he can't do nothing with,
And there can,
I don't know why he's not combining them. If there's three parcels you can't do nothing with and just make one parcel out of it. If with our new assessor, as long as the parcels do not cross a road, because you can't hook them up across the road. And as long, there's some other thing that you can, if they've been split once, you can't put them back together or something like that.
if they've been split, if they were non-conforming when they were split, or when they were put back together and they're still non-conforming, no, you can't split them.
Okay,
But if you split them and they're conforming, yes, you can.
you can put them back together.
Yeah.
Like that person could put them all back together, put them all in one, which if they're all right next to each other, I don't know why you wouldn't. Because then that would be even cheaper, you know, it'd be cheaper for them all the way around, but it's also free. Our assessors, the town of Hamlin will not, if their properties are right next to each other and everything, we will put them back together for free. So it won't cost a resident anything. And that way he'll have just one EDU. I don't know how many of them are actually flooded.
He said 2, I think, are completely like.
2 are completely flooded, I don't know. So but I mean, he could put 2 together into one and maybe even a third one. I don't know how they all sit, whatever, but it would, if they're all right next to each other, it's free to combine them. So that would save money right there. I know what you're saying. It is a hard thing. I do it because I say I'm for the 381, and that's just my opinion, and the whole board is gonna vote tonight. But we're gonna put this to bed tonight because we have to for the bond. We're gonna do the bond in about a month, and we need to know how many units for that bond. Our last 2 water lines, and you're right, Nuco Drive, actually all of Lake Shore, every one of those lake shores had half EDUs when that water line was put in years ago. Our last two water lines have been full EDUs because of the price.
What were the last 2?
The last 2 were Route 18 and Redmond Road, were full EDUs because if we went half EDUs, it went above the threshold and the state would not allow the water lines to go through.
I'm not voting on this report, because I remember we decided that would be a full EDU, right? I mean, this is.
Last time, but
Right.
it's up again, so we can, you know, I'm just giving reasons why I think it. I'm just trying to be consistent also. I know we could do it for the lakefront, but then also the next water line that goes in probably won't have this generous of a grant from the state. So they're gonna get charged an EDU. I have to look at all the people in town, not just the lakefront people, everybody in town. And the next person who comes in with a waterfront that's being charged a full EDU, and they come to me and say, why ain't the town helping me out? You helped the lakefront's got helped out, why am I not getting half EDU? And it's like, I can't because we couldn't afford the water line. We're trying to be consistent. And I can see, things going on, but Joel, I mean, please, give us anything.
Well, I just want to be, because I remember we did this before. We made this decision that it'd be a full EDU. I mean, are we trying to change it because of because of the price going up, right? That's why we're doing this. That's why you're deciding now to bring this back up again, right? So.
Well, yeah, I mean, the price went up, things changed. I thought it would be a good opportunity. When we first voted, it was stated that we would have to bring this up for another public hearing and everything if we wanted that to change, which seemed counterproductive at the time. And then here we are, we had to have another public hearing, so I thought it was pertinent to bring up again.
And there's no problem with bringing this up again.
Right.
It's a valid issue to bring up
I
again.
mean, I like being consistent, just because I don't want to, because we govern the whole town and not just the Lake Shore. I mean, her situation is a little different. I'm not pointing at you, but she has a different kind of situation going on with that subdivision.
Yes,
kind of
it's
mess,
split subdivision, so it's.
which is a little different than this. So, I mean, I like sticking to the full EDU. I don't. I mean, people might have a different opinion on it. I don't. But.
I'll make the motion.
Do you 2 board members have anything else to say about this? I want full discussion before this.
No, I'm good. You know, people got a vehicle to argue that, not so much the EDU, but as far as it's all part of the assessment.
Yeah.
There's a vehicle there to make that change. That's the way I feel.
I think with the exception of the subdivision case, which definitely needs a little bit of attention and a little bit of guidance from us to ensure that gets taken care of and kind of ironed out.
Right.
I mean, everybody else has a vehicle, no matter how many vacant lots they have up there, to merge them, combine them, and kind of, you know, work that around, and they have a vehicle to deal with the assessments, so I think it should be even. I think everybody should be treated equally.
I'm not saying anyone deserves preferential treatment. We have districts where there's half EDU, so obviously everyone hasn't been treated equally. We've done it in the past. What's to say someone's not gonna come in and say, you've done it in the past, whether it was the Lake Shore, whether it was Newco, whether it was Redmond, Redmond, we did it on Redmond, there's half EDUs. So we've done it in the past, and who's to say we're not gonna do it in the future if there's 5 different people sitting up here? I don't think I don't think it has to do with any preferential treatment towards anyone. I just think it's the right thing to do, because that's what was presented to people at the initial public hearing for this district. I believe it's the right thing to do. I think property owners have rights. I think if people don't want to combine their lots, we shouldn't push the onus on them because we're changing midstream what we told them we were gonna do. Some people may have reasons for not wanting to combine their lots, and to now say, oh, you have to, come in and do paperwork and combine your lots, I just think is putting undue burden on the residents. They have property rights. If they want 5 lots, for whatever reason, I can't tell you, but that's their choice, but.
You're right, maybe they're saving a lot for the kids down the road too. Maybe, I could see, and I was gonna put it in the letter in our webpage or whatever, that do not jump too fast to combine your lots, because say you can build on that, and that's if, checking with them, if you can build on it. Do you wanna put that lot down and put a house on there for your children, so they're not living with you, but they can still live by the lake? Or do you want your children, to give your children your house, you wanna be a snowbird, go down to Florida, and you just want a small house to come back to in the winter? Those are all possibilities, and I can see that's why maybe you don't wanna sell your lots out, but then if you plan on doing that, I can see why you also have to pay the price or whatever for the lots. But I can see why people don't wanna put their lots together, for maybe giving the property to their children or whatever, for a reason like that. And then if you are gonna split that off like that to give to your children, then I don't see as big of a burden for paying that price if you plan on doing that in the future.
I don't think it's the money. For me, it's not the money issue. We all know it's a small amount of money for a sewer district. I think we can all agree on that. I just think it's the principle. That's the main sticking point for me. No one at the public hearing argued the amount of money. People even said, I'm willing to pay the extra money for, to absorb that extra cost, one guy said, because it's still cheap. I don't think that's the argument. But that's how I feel.
No, that's fine.
That's fine.
Absolutely fine. And will this change in 10 years? If this is a different board, will this board's decision change in 10 years? Very well could be. This is what this board is saying now is what we're doing.
So I think the right thing to do is be consistent. Then I think it's all subjective, I think however anyone looks at this right now, we should be consistent with what we do.
And I guess I'm a little confused. You keep saying it was the decision of the board to do half EDUs before, but the only place I heard anything about half EDUs associated with the sewer district was MRB, who miscommunicated it in a public hearing, which is our engineer, you're correct, but it was not the town board communicating that. And my belief is that miscommunication was, and I wasn't on the board then, my belief is that miscommunication was corrected pretty quickly by the town board.
When was that? It was never discussed by the town board. That's what was presented, so that's what we all believed to be true when I voted. that's what I believe to be true, because that's the information we were given by the engineer. I mean, I have emails actually with MRB Group stating that the vacant lots were half an EDU as of April of 2021.
Right, but MRB doesn't decide, the town board does, right? So,
I don't know who decided, actually, because that's the information that was relayed. I don't know, Phil, you were on the board at the time. It was relayed, it was a half EDU, and then there was
And that
no
wasn't,
further discussion about it.
and that's not what was put in the resolution. That's the problem. It was two different,
what did the resolution say?
to 381, full EDUs.
So the town board,
And that's where it.
With the
that's where
bond, when the
confusion
bond,
started.
and I wasn't on the town board last year, and neither was Angel. When the bond was issued, the bond, it has to be the EDU, so the bond, because then the bond people have to know how many when they split the price out. Sometime when the bond was issued last year, and I don't know, it was, you three voted on it, and a couple, Eric and Mr. Baxter.
Yeah.
All voted for that price for the bond, and that was for 381 when the bond was issued. I don't know if there's enough, I wasn't on, so I don't know if there was enough communication before that bond.
And there
was
really
issued.
wasn't any discussion about it.
I don't know if there's any discussion or not. I can't say that. I was not on this board.
No, there wasn't.
But I could say that the bond was passed by the board at the time, and somebody made the decision when that bond was passed, because it has to be to pass the bond, because they have to know how much per parcel.
so the town board decided it was 381 and MRB was the one that kind of misspoke in the public.
Well, it was wrote for the bond at 381.
And for the bond in 381, it was wrote. I don't know if there's ever a resolution
And that
about
was
it or not. I
approved.
cannot,
Well, there would have had to be a resolution.
There was a
for the
resolution.
for a
bond.
resolution for the bond itself,
Right,
yes.
right.
At the
With the
bond time, I think it
381
was
number.
decided.
But I don't think the resolution stated how many parcels. I think it gave a blanket,
I don't have it in
approve a
front of me. I can't
resolution
remember.
Yeah, I
for this
without
amount of
reading through
money.
the whole thing,
We
I don't
didn't
know.
say like for how many parcels, it was just the amount of money for the bond.
I don't know, somebody would have to pull the
You'd have to
original
pull that up.
resolution.
But I don't know if it stated that in there or not, I'm not sure, but it has to be stated, they told me this has to be stated to this, because the bond people have to know,
Well,
because they're the ones who break up the schedule, so they have to know.
we just did our bond resolution at the last meeting. Did we state how many parcels for this district? We just did it at the special meeting.
That was just a resolution to increase the amount of the bond. It wasn't the actual resolution to get the bond. You still having to do another resolution, you have to do a final order. That was just a resolution to submit to the paper that we are going to go out and get additional money.
To be specific, on September 6th, we have to adopt the bond resolution adoption on September 6th is when we adopt the actual bond.
Wish we had a search, I could search it right now.
Any other questions? Please, I mean, this is an important issue. All right, then, I read the resolution. Somebody want to second it or whatever? Clerk, please call a roll.
Robot,
No.
Mel,
No,
Foco,
Yes.
and Jaeger,
No.
and Buzz.
No. All right, resolution number 11, requesting town board resolution to set the number of parcels being responsible to finance a bond note for the Hamlin Lakeshore Sewer District number 1 at 381 parcels.
So moved.
Second?
Robot,
Yes.
Mel,
yes.
Foco,
No.
Jaeger,
Yes.
Buzz.
Yes. And while we're on this subject, I forgot to say this earlier before we got to these resolutions. People did call me up and ask me, they didn't hear if we adopted the sewer line. And it was kind of muffled. I went and looked at our recording and it was kind of muffled. So let me say now, and we will put it, we will put it on the website or whatever tomorrow, please. That we did adopt it. The sewer lines is going forwards. We adopted it at that special meeting down in the gym, so to put everybody's mind at ease, it was muffled, so we did adopt it that night. We are going forwards with the sewer line.
Well, you put it in the paper right away, right?
Yeah, and it's on the website
Okay,
too.
it's on the website and it should be on the board out here.
Yep.
Oh,
I've had a couple people call and said it was muffled, they didn't hear it, so they asked me and I told them, yes, definitely, sorry it was muffled. All right, number 12, requesting town board resolution to approve the purchase of 10 disc golf baskets by the recreation department at a price of $5,000 with money coming from the ARPA funds. We have talked to, just to let you know, our recreation, Isaiah actually brought this idea up a few months ago and we've been checking into it. And one of our members from the MRB group plays disc golf with Rochester Disc Golf Club and everything all the time. He was excited, so he is donating his time to help with this course pro bono or whatever it is. He's not gonna charge us for this. And the Rochester Disc Golf Course, they're excited about it. They're gonna come out and set up stuff temporarily for us, trying to help us set up a course even before we get the baskets. They wanna bring temporary baskets out and set it up and see exactly where things work good and everything. We're excited. I mean, this seems Parma, all the towns around us. I don't know if Clarkson does. They have disc golf course and it's being used a lot, and so we're gonna have a 9-hole course out back. We don't have enough room for an 18, but
Where do we get the cost for the 5,000? Like how, like,
there is,
So they gave us the company that the Rochester Disc Golf Association is using. It was actually cheaper than the quote that Anki had originally gotten. So we got 10. One is like a practice putting green, and then if one of them breaks, we have an extra one to fix the course. But it's a little bit under that, but we figured just to be safe, we bumped it up a little bit. It's like a month and a half waiting list to actually get them once we order them.
Do we have enough trees back there without all the ash trees now?
So
we wish there was more.
That's the
so we
big
walked,
deal.
and they're gonna get creative. That's what these guys do. They do it all the time they play. So they're gonna figure out. I don't even know what's the word you used, Steve. What were the requirements when you throw the frisbee? Like normally it's like a tree, but we don't have them. So they're gonna use different things we have in the park, like those.
Maybe we can even plant. They don't need big trees to go around. We said, well, maybe we can go get a few smaller trees and start planting.
Even
more
those
trees
storage
out
sheds
there.
that were out there, they're kind of going to use those as obstacles and different things. But Steve, Isaiah, myself, and Amelia, we walked the whole park kind of looking to see what we could utilize,
so this will be an easy course, right? Not easy.
From what I hear, I don't think it is. I don't know.
It'll probably be easier in some, yes.
Yeah.
Because there won't be as many obstacles, but
Yeah.
we're gonna try and maybe even plant some obstacles,
Yeah.
put some more trees out there because all the ash trees are gone, so. We are gonna try to work on it and make it harder, but
No, they're popular. I mean, it's a popular sport.
Do other towns rent, like discs for people who don't have their own?
Not that I am aware of, but I know like in the past we've had like the pickleball stuff that people can use, so I like to look into doing that as well, at least to get people excited and started about it.
Yeah, because some people don't invest in buying all the
Yeah,
discs.
and
They
they're-
just wanna play a couple
Yeah, they're
of
pretty
times.
reasonably priced.
One of the tool vendors that I talked to, he goes with his grandson and he said you can go to Dixon for like $30 and get a basic.
Yeah, they're just frisbees, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna use
don't
the
know anything
frisbee
about
that's
it, but
been
he
in my
was telling
garage
me.
for.
You know, to get in
It's
it,
discs.
it's pretty reasonable.
well, the guys that play all the time from Rochester say there's like 7 or 8 different discs. They all fly differently. You all got
Oh,
to
yeah,
like
you
this
can
or like
spend as
this.
much as you
There's
want, I'm sure.
It's like golf, you know,
Yeah,
different clubs
exactly.
for different
Yes.
purposes.
Oh,
Different,
Different
how
discs.
far you want to go, yes.
But yes, I'd like to have a couple sets on hand,
Yeah.
especially for the camp kids and
Right.
to be used, yes.
Okay.
Sorry, am I allowed to ask, do you guys have an idea where these are gonna go, or?
Right by your house. They're gonna be like right around,
My daughter will love it. She'll be the MVP.
right in the back, for us saying.
Not yet, that we don't have it cleaned out at all yet.
Yeah, where it is in the back.
We're waiting for Rochester to come out.
They're looking for obstacles, so.
Yeah.
My kids probably won't throw them back, but
we're trying to get more people to come and play in the park and everything. That's what this is all about. Use the park more.
Exercise.
Actually, yeah, get more exercise
Yeah.
and everything. And
So this group has portable ones, so they're gonna come out on a weekend with Isaiah and they're gonna basically set them up and play it and see what works and move them around a bit, like they're letting us
Okay.
borrow those so they can set it
Cool.
up before we dig or put anything in the ground and make sure it works, just because.
yeah,
Alright,
and we can also make a map up on a sheet of paper like this size even, and put a map of where the course is gonna be and put it online or on our webpage or whatever. We can do that before we put anything permanent in the ground.
Yep.
And typically they're more centralized in the park, not on the
Perimeter.
perimeters. Because of you're throwing a frisbee.
Yeah.
They want it to stay in the park when you're throwing a frisbee.
right.
Yeah, they hollered at me, I told them, go around the playground, they said, really, with kids on there?
Yeah, they'll avoid places
Yeah,
like that.
Losing a golf ball.
Right.
And I know they did mention like something about over by that path, it would be a lot of like left-handed throws and most people are right-handed, so
Yeah.
that was the only comment that was made about being over by that path and we walked over there, so.
We can, like I say, that once we have no idea.
Yeah, they're the experts.
I've
They
never
design
played in my
course.
life, so I don't know. The experts are gonna come out with portables and look it over and stuff, and we can put out a plan, like I say, put out a rough drawing of it. Any other discussion? Okay,
I'll make the motion.
I'll
Second, oh, go ahead.
Robert,
Yes.
Mail,
Yes.
Boko,
Yes.
Jaeger,
Yes.
Buzz.
yes. Moving on to reports. Councilperson Joel.
So for the library, we had 684 participants. Our people count, which is odd, was 2619. I always wondered about that number because I wonder why the count is different than the participants, but maybe it's just people walking through. We actually had 136 people at the summer reading program, which is a lot, which is pretty good. Monroe County Health Department is also setting up a table there on lead. So people have some information because some of the homes on lead poisoning, so that's going to be really good. And we're applying for a $300 mini grant to pay for next year for having like a summer reading program performers, which we didn't have this year. For the dog shelter, the state audit is due on August 22nd for this year. So that's I think last year was unannounced, correct? It's, I thought, but maybe not. This year they actually gave us a date. I know just because I get my phone blows up, there's a dog named Tucker at the shelter that everybody wants because I get a message. That shepherd. All night long and 4 o'clock in the morning people are, so it must be some dog and there's a lot of people wanting it, so if anybody out there wants Tucker, get him quick.
Get in line.
Right, get in the line. But that's it.
All right, thank you. Councilperson Vogel.
Okay, zoning board of appeals, first public hearing was for 3599 Brick Schoolhouse Road for chickens, 6 chickens on 0.53 acres, where you need to have 5 acres to have chickens. He presented a waste management plan, he's gonna use wood chips and change them weekly. There was no public comment and it was approved with like a 5-year sunset clause. Next public hearing was Hamlin Center Road for a detached carport for storage of motor vehicles, basically motorcycle tractor vehicles. He needed a 6-foot variance for a side setback. There was no comments and that was approved. Next was a public hearing for down on Summerhaven Drive for a black vinyl coated chain link fence, 4 foot high, in the front water side yard, and no wire fences are permitted in that zoning district. There was no public comments and that was approved. Then there was a public hearing for Brick Schoolhouse Road to install a wire electric fence to keep his, basically a corral for his horses. He needed some side setbacks, as well. There was no comments and that was approved. That was that. The History Center, we had a meeting last week and we predominantly spent the meeting prepping for the end of summer bash, and we actually are gonna meet again in 2 weeks just to finalize all of our plans for that event. So it was a productive meeting. We have a cool little booth for the end of summer bash. I went and met with Dave, with the historian at Clarkson last week, just to get some more information about what they're doing. As far as the temporary the charter goes, I think we're gonna hold off for now until we get more established as a committee, and then maybe move forward with that paperwork down the road. Although Dave did find some paperwork that we did have a charter at one point for like 25 years, the history committee did. Yeah, and then it was disbanded by Mary Smith because she was the sole member of it, so I haven't seen the paperwork yet, but yeah, I think it was ongoing for like 25 years. There was a charter down there for a society, so we had a historical society, who would know? So, yeah, I mean, Clarkson, their situation's a little different than ours because they rent their building from a church. They have a 99-year lease. They pay like $1 for it, so it's not town-owned property that the collection is on. And they have a small collection compared to what we have. So that's that for the History Center. We're meeting, I think, on the 23rd to finalize all the plans for the 27th. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. Councilperson Mayo.
Hamlin Ambulance has year-to-date calls 650, and last month they had 96 calls. They said it's been really, really busy, and they're breaking records every month, so it's not a good thing, but.
What are the calls, so you don't know?
I don't know. He didn't break them down for me. It would be interesting to see how many were heat exhaustion, especially with the heat as of lately. So, we have the end of summer bash planned. We have the bounce houses all set for the little kids. We have pony rides. We have a food truck, port side hot dogs from Brockport will be coming out, and I'm working on Lucia's and Kona ice for that day also. Recreation's gonna set up a bunch of games and stuff outside in the park, and the historical committee will be setting up an area for them also, so it's gonna be a great event for the youth. That'll be 11 to 4, and then we have 8 days a week, which is the Beatles tribute band scheduled for 8 p.m. at the fire department stage. Councilman Hurlbut and I have been working on a fundraiser for Paul Burley, who is a veteran in Hamlin that passed away. Unfortunately, he has no immediate family that's been able to help get his burial taken care of. So we are planning the funeral with full military honors, along with the fundraiser, which is happening on August 21st, 1 to 5 at the Hamlin VFW. The seniors had their dinner this month, well, actually last month, because we're in August now. I missed a whole week, which was a great event. They had a great turnout. They always get 120 seniors. They had it at the Walker Fire Department, which with the doors, they were able to get a nice breeze and not have to worry about tents falling. Which is huge. They have invited all members of the Hamlin Town Board to their next one. I emailed out the date and time. You just have to get your food orders in. That's it.
All right, Councilperson Hurlbut. Thank you.
Hamlin, Morton, Walker Fire District, they've had 294 calls year to date. They're welcoming 2 new firefighters. As Angel said, they have the band night August 27th in Hamlin, and Walker's having a steak roast August 13th at 12 o'clock. And they did make mention to pass along that the primary election went well at Station 3 in Walker, so they were happy the way that went. Planning board, we had a preliminary and final single subdivision at 307 Drake Road that was approved. That's been going back and forth here for 2 or 3 months, and finally all that was taken care of and approved. There was a conservation corridor development permit for a generator at 6544 Shore Acres Drive. That was approved with a condition of a solid length fence just to help deaden the noise. It's a tight, very tight lot, and there was concern over noise for the neighbor. They did approve it with a stipulation of putting the fence in. There was a property merge for 1310 Walker Lake Ontario Road, which really was a property line adjustment, and that was approved also. And there was a preliminary and final single lot subdivision for 5936 West Watoma Road, and they scheduled a public hearing for next month for that. And a property split on 179 Church Road, that needs to go to zoning, and it was a very conceptual sketch plan, and that was tabled to get more details with that. That's all from the planning board. And then we have the Farmland Protection Plan Advisory Committee. We're gonna meet August 17th at 7 o'clock. We've got a copy of some surveys that the town of Farmington put out to landowners. We're gonna go through those and hopefully get started on sending at least surveys out, and hopefully get moving forward with that. That's all I have.
Thank you. County Inspector Code Enforcement, Cheryl.
Okay, the department issued 33 permits in the past month. Town received over $1,200 for those permits, which brought permit valuation up for over $226,000, which is great. It's great news. There were 12 CFOs that were completed. Another big month, 270 plus calls up in the department. And the department sent out 17 violation notices, various code violations and complaints, junk cars, tall grass, those types of things. But things are maybe slowing down a little bit, but we still are getting a lot of interest in people fixing their yards up and adding space, laying sheds, adding pole barns. So it's a good thing, all before the winter. But that's all for the building department.
Thank you. Our highway superintendent, Mike.
Past month, we completed our milling and paving program. We milled and repaved 3 housing track roads, a piece of one lakefront road and one of our outlying roads. Surface treated 5 of our roads that they're working on sweeping now to get them restriped. We completed the playground in Huntington Park, so we've been kind of balancing for a year now between waiting for pieces and waiting for weather. And we've had a lot of good comments about that. Of course, a few that weren't, but most were, and a few emails, people looking for what's next as they kind of see things changing out there. So that's encouraging. And that's up.
Let's build that fund up again. That playground depleted the fund.
That's a hard thing to explain to people.
Well, thank you.
Flowers look good, Mike, by the way. All the flowers look really nice.
Right, it's been a tough year for them too, no rain.
I know,
Yeah.
that's why I'm
Steve's probably done better than anybody with these out here.
I think you're
I'll give him that.
They
Yeah.
look great, Steve, the photos look great.
I go out there and weed. When something bothers me, I just walk out there and go weed. All right.
Right?
Our recreation director, Katie.
Good. First couple weeks, some transitioning. Camp is going well. We've maxed out our numbers every week. Trips have been successful. The Junk Jamboree with Patty Joe was a great event. I think most of you guys were there. It was way bigger than it had been in the past. A lot of good feedback. Everybody seemed to do good. Working with Isaiah on the disc golf course and really just looking ahead for the fall programming.
Clark, anything with conservation? No. No. Our town clerk, Patty Joe.
We're selling hunting licenses now, so if you wanna come in now, it's better than waiting until September, cause we're busy collecting taxes in September. The cruising was great, but I think we need to tweak it a little bit since we'll be in competition with the Spencerport car show. So we've talked about some ideas and we'll figure something out.
Maybe tractors.
Tractors, yep, something like that,
Yeah,
you know, bring
trucks.
back in the farm, you know, history and tractors and,
That's what we,
Yeah.
she was discussing with me, yes. Antique tractors or something.
Yeah, like Charlie Scott.
yeah.
So, yeah, that is where we had discussed.
Right.
And we're at the Irish Festival in Hamlin. And we were promoting Halloween-a-thon because now it's all about Halloween-a-thon. So we got a few runners signed up for the Run for Your Life 5K zombie run. Yep, so moving on to the next thing.
We're gonna get real chainsaws this year, I heard.
Oh, sure, yeah, a couple of them at least. Don't tell Maureen, she'll be worried about that
I was just sitting
insurance.
over there thinking, no, you're not.
All right.
So, and the Friends of Hamlin Recreation will have their meeting tomorrow. So, if anybody wants to get on board on that.
You still collecting plastic for the benches?
Still collecting plastic. Actually, it's the Friends of the library that the collection is going under now.
Yeah.
And after we get 500 pounds with that, then Life Solutions wants to help out and get involved. So
Okay.
it's becoming a real community effort.
Plus we have that kid, right, the Eagle Scout.
Boy Scout put in the sign.
He was out there this weekend. He was out there on
The hot day, yeah,
Sunday,
Saturday.
and him and his mom out in the park.
They're all hot days.
Lately.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
That's it?
Mhm.
I've been working with the recreation stuff with Kaylee, with our new supervisor. Like I said, finally got the walking trail, and that's actually been batting that around for 2 years, trying to get that done. We are talking about an ice skating rink in Hamlin. We're trying to see how, and I'm gonna talk to our insurance company.
We used to have one.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
We did used to
Yes, we
have
used to
one.
flood the courts,
Mhm.
but we don't do that anymore. Cause it broke the courts up, but we're thinking about something out by the lodge, kind of like in the middle. Out there, we are looking to see where we have room right now. And where it might be close to a water source, and then hopefully we get cold enough weather to freeze the thing. Last year we didn't get much. More snow than cold weather last year, but we are looking into that. So we'll look for possible ice skating rink
There
this
you go.
winter. Like I say, it'll be out right by the lodge someplace close to water.
And you could use the dugouts for little warming stations,
Yeah.
Well, we were hoping that
do some hot
the
chocolate out there.
close to the lodge, because then you could do the bathrooms. The lodge, they could open up one of those windows, whatever, hot chocolate and everything we could have out there, right?
Could have a tub of donated skates.
But, you know, like I say, we gotta check, we just preliminary stages right now and see where we can put it, how we do it, and if the insurance company will allow us to do it. But like I say, we're trying to use the park more, trying to get people out and exercising. Like I said, we've been busy with the sewer, I've been busy. Holly's office has been called today, I'll probably call, our Senator Cooney there, trying to find Holly, his secretary is working on looking for extra money for that $250,000 extra. And like I said, we talked to our Senator Cooney about that also. We are checking into it. Don't know if it's gonna happen or not, but we are checking. Just trying to keep everything else running around here. Any discussion?
Can I add that Steve Hawley is gonna have a town hall event on Saturday, the
In 2 weeks.
13th,
No, this,
this Saturday,
yeah,
the
this Saturday,
13th.
Yes.
It's on our website and Facebook, I think. I think it's at 10 o'clock? I don't know, don't quote me on the
I
time.
think so.
Okay.
Have we had, how many applications has there been for planning?
3.
Do we wanna
Oh, come up with a date for,
set up an interview for that?
We can, I was gonna do that during discussion, but yeah, we can. We are in discussion, I guess. Oops, wrong way.
We can do it August or September, probably August, right?
Yeah, we'll do it in August, try to. Today's the 8th, by the time you get people, it probably won't be till, you know, get people lined up. It won't be till at least next week, I don't think, or the week after. But I mean, if we did it next week, then we could maybe have somebody in place for the 24th.
Cause then we'd say we could do it on the zoning workshop night, right, or the 18th?
We can. If the 18th works for people, we can do it on that night, I can try to,
Cause we're here then, anyway, that's.
I can try to get the people here.
What was the date?
The 18th?
August 18th.
And just let us know,
When do
Judge.
you want to start?
before zoning? Or after?
Yeah, we could, if we could start at 6:30 or,
Maybe we'll.
It's probably gonna be a half
I don't know,
hour,
if we need
20
to zoning
minutes.
that night.
That's what I said, we don't need the zoning, that's how I was thinking, if we can just eliminate zoning, it will
Start
help.
at like 6:30, 6:15.
It takes at least 40 minutes for each candidate usually when we're doing the other.
So unless there's anything really pressing that we can't work in the background on for zoning workshop, maybe between emails, the 18th would be fine for interviews.
Okay, like at 6:15 or 6:30.
Start at 6:15 and do half an hour for
Can you do
each,
6:15?
right?
I know your schedule is.
Actually, that day I could do even earlier.
So you wanna do 6 o'clock that day?
We do 6:30 and then 7, that puts us out at 7:30 about.
Yeah,
You schedule 30 minutes per interview.
cause you know they always go.
that's fine,
Longer.
Okay. All right, we got the first one at 6.
as long as it's, yeah, as long as the candidates can make it.
Right, we'll email all of you and let you know how to get the candidate's name from PHO. Cause say it's the last day they could hand them in.
Right.
So get them from her and call them and see if they can show up that day. And that way we can be ready before the next meeting and appoint somebody that next meeting. Any other discussion about anything?
I was, just another question on the Scout Park, they had a thing here for the junk jamboree. Have you heard anything more from them, Steve, or?
I did, I actually unlocked the gates, they had surveyors down there today.
Okay.
So there's survey markers and stuff they were putting around there today, I had to unlock the gates and everything for them, so they could do their thing. So that's all that I've heard from them right now is that there was a survey crew down there today.
There's quite a few people, it seemed like every time you looked over visiting that booth that they had there, so.
Yeah, I know, there seems to be a lot of excitement about it, so.
Yeah.
There was a lot of residents that didn't even know it existed.
Yeah, so it's a good idea.
Yeah,
So
I
it
talked
was
to
great.
Junk Jamboree, they said they got a lot of residents who were excited about the project, had some great input. So there's that link on our website too for people to still give input on what their ideas are for down there. But yeah, they said they were like the busiest booth all day. I felt like
Yeah, there was, every time you looked
over.
over, there was one or two people there, so.
Mhm.
It's good.
Yeah, so it would probably be, you know, there could be changes, take the fence out, take that building down, put a big pavilion where picnic tables and everything is what they got planned and.
In an amphitheater, right? Which is like the dugout for the concert area. Or did they nix that?
We're gonna be careful about that. Right next to a trailer park, I don't know how many people you're gonna tick off in an amphitheater. Or a mobile home park, I'm sorry. We'll see about that one.
They might like it.
They might like
But
it,
they
you know,
haven't-
depends on what kind of music we're playing, would actually probably.
They haven't got a tentative schedule as far as where
No.
they're gonna, okay.
They're actually holding on a little while to see what kind of input they're getting from the people with that scan code or whatever that they had.
Yeah,
They're
make
still
sure
getting-
everybody does their survey. It's on the website.
No, I did not.
I saw Sweden had in the paper something about, I think they're having a public hearing for a battery storage, solar energy storage unit in Sweden, so I'm glad we have a moratorium on it. I just, where do we stand with that? Like, are we,
That would be in our zoning, right now it's up in the air, we have to read the laws more and everything, have a discussion during our zoning workshop about that and then take that to the zoning board and everything and. So, yes, we have to get started on that more.
looks like it's coming this way.
Yeah, Sweden used to have a moratorium, I do believe, whether the moratorium is up.
What?
I thought that they had a moratorium at one time too, that could be up because they had theirs before us,
I have no idea.
I'm pretty sure.
It must be.
Being no other discussion,